Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Loren Michaels-Harris, and I'm here today with a burning question just for you. Be honest, have you spent hundreds of dollars trying to get your message on the stages? Perhaps you've paid for coaching that took you absolutely nowhere. Well, guess what? We're going to change all that. If you answered yes, I'm here to help you. Back when I first started, it took just one short year, and I was able to write the book on how to get paid for your message. Now, I'm taking it one step further. After hundreds of paid speaking engagements, that's right, hundreds, I'm here to show you how you can do the same thing. Interested? So listen, if you're ready, I mean truly ready, to change the world through your story, then do yourself and the world a favor. Sign up for this 90-minute webinar. I promise you, you will not regret it. It's going to change your life.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. time, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
That's right. The train is coming. Get ready to get on board. Boy, I'm excited. Hey. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. It is the Tuesdays. There's only one. Jeez, Dr. Loren. The senior moments, they come and they go. Anyway, I'm excited to be here and still remember my name. 62 ain't no joke, but hey, I can't wait to see what 63 brings to the table. Can I get an amen? Oh, I'll kick it off. There you go. One on the screen. One to go. Listen, welcome to today's installment. Like I said, it's Tuesday, but it's not just any old Tuesday. Y'all know what it is. We're going to one. When I say go to one, guess what that is? A debate watch party. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. But I'm ready for it. It's like 5 of us there, right? So I'm not saying anything. I'm not. I'm going to actually wear this very jacket where in my pocket concealed will be my handy dandy fart sound effects machine. That's right. And every time somebody on screen or someone in the room says something that I just can't abide with, oh my God, I'm ready. They will never know it's me. Trust me. Oh, really? Candidate blankety blank. So, am I going to have a good time? Absolutely. And there it is. So, what else do I have to announce? The debate. Oh, webinar tomorrow night for you people out there who are just bursting at the seams to get out and get your message out into the world. I know how it was. I was like that for decades. Let me get rid of some of this. I got too much stuff in here. I gotta get rid of that. That's from yesterday's show. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Here it is. That's right. Unleash your voice. It is literally tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Easy webinar. It's all over my social media. If you want to come, it's free. 90 minutes. A lot of great content on how to get yourself paid to speak. I'm in year number 10 of it. And boy, one of the most gratifying things I've ever done in my life. Seriously. So that's how you know when you're within your purpose, because you can't wait to give it away to other people or help them find their way to their own, right? I'll take another amen. Thank you so much. And also, for those of you near or in the Kansas City, Missouri area, I'd love to see you. I'll be flying in the 12th, actually, Thursday, and I'll be there through Sunday for the annual BTYB Becoming the Better You event. It's just my 4th year pouring in down there, keynoting. I'm so excited to be there. So all of you in that area, come on over. More information about that all over my social media as well. And I'm going to drop the links to everything inside your comment section at the end. Where's my inhaler? Here it is. These, what are those things? Pollen and stuff. Allergies. They've been tearing my ass up, y'all. For real. I'm not kidding. But I'm making it through it because we've got somebody really interesting here today. I can't wait to share all that we have. It's the first time he's ever been here. Came across my radar. I'm not sure. I think it was one of the platforms. Found him on and heard his story and instantly knew it was a great fit. Great fit. His name is Timothy Waterman. And lot to this guy. He's a conscious channeler, a life transformation guy, and he offers folks channeled guidance sessions. He has a multi-month life transformation program and a whole bunch more. And he's ready to listen and be listened to by anyone out there, those of us who feel that we are ready to live a life that is radically authentic to ourselves. So, without further ado, let's get him in here. Here he comes. He's on his way down the hall. Timothy Waterman, y'all. Hey, how are you today?
I'm so well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm awesome, blessed, feeling good, fighting the allergies and stuff, but that's nothing. I'm used to it. So, Timothy, where are you in the world?
I'm in upstate New York State in the US.
Upstate New York State. Okay. And what's
Yeah.
the name of your town?
The city I'm closest to is Rochester, so about like 30 to 40 minutes south.
Of Rochester.
Yeah.
Still, we can't even pry that. Okay, what's the name of the place that
Oh,
you?
gotcha. Yeah, I'm not used to saying because it's like nobody's ever heard of it.
Well, how are they gonna get to know about it if you don't tell?
I know it's right. Yeah, I'm right on a lake that's called Canisius Lake in Livonia.
Ooh, see, there it is, right on the lake. I bet it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes, harsh winters.
Not so much when I was a kid, but as of late, they're pretty mild. Like there's a lot of days during the winter where it's even like 50 degrees sometimes because I love to walk all year round, and they're really not harsh anymore. So I'll take
Okay,
it.
nice. Well, look, there's a little thing I like to do, um, to give the show its own organic start, if you will. So a running start. So I'm going to dip out for about 60 seconds and let you
Okay.
just pour from your heart, whatever's on your spirit today. Create your own vibe with the folks, and then I'll come back in. You don't have to take all 60 seconds, but if you want it, it's there for you. All you take it away.
Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, what's lighting me up today is just really feeling into the infinite possibilities more than ever. I've been on this healing and transformation journey for a long time, about 12 years now. And what I can say is that I'm so loved by, the creator of all that is, by this universe, by life and existence itself, that I know that it is continuing to work on me to expand me and get me ready for that which I've asked for. And it just keeps going. It's never ending. If you've ever seen the works of Abraham Hicks, it's like there is no end point. Like it's endless expansion. And I'm just feeling it more than ever. And so all that to say that I'm on this journey too. I love to be a guide for others on their journey of expansion and transformation. And I love it because I'm still on the same path, and there really is no end. There's no end to the expansion. And so I'm just smiling because I can feel it more than ever. And I'm excited about it. So,
Awesome. Great. How old are you, Timothy?
I'm just shy of 41.
I thought you were going to say 26, 27. You look like a kid. So, speaking of when you were a kid, were you raised in a religious kind of background like so many of us were? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was, to answer the question. And oh my goodness, I have to like really reflect on that for a moment. I mean, it was all I knew for a really long time. And then, I definitely began to have a lot of questions probably around the age of 11. And yeah, it was like
Oh,
an inner knowing of just like, something, there's just a lot of dots that aren't connecting for me. And I really paid attention to that. I really leaned in. There was something that wanted to tell me something. And so I did. And ever since that age, I've really trusted that to, find what was the right fit for me and to follow that yearning, follow that need to find what was right for me. So that's a bit about what it was like for me.
what kind of question did you start asking? What kind of questions at that age? I think I was probably around that same
Mhm,
neighborhood when I started questioning, and I was in a very staunch,
mhm,
strict religion. We were Seventh-day Adventist, and people
mhm.
always put them in with the Jehovah's Witness, the Christian Science, all the, you know. So the cult-like religions, to be perfectly honest. So, what kind of questions and who did you ask them to?
Well, so there was a lot of things that just didn't feel like love. And, that's where the disconnect was. Like I just felt in my heart this knowing of how loving existence is. And so I just needed to, yeah, there was just this inner knowing of like certain things just
Mhm.
don't line up with with love. And so I paid attention to that. And because that inner knowing just wouldn't let go. It was like, like there just weren't things that were not connecting. And I was just asking questions to people around me,
Did you have a large family? What was the family dynamic like?
yeah, yeah, large. And
Oh,
yeah. So, and I just honestly didn't feel like I really had anyone that understood. So it was very much like a solo journey, if you will.
so okay. So do you today though? Because a lot of us still kept some of the tiles we walked across as far as organized religion. Because you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? And you see how it's like pick the things that apply to you and leave the rest of the stuff. Just leave it. If it doesn't fit or resonate with you, then leave it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go into this piece about first one. A life transformation guide. I like well, I more than like it. I love the way that sounds because of the way it makes me feel. Now,
Mhm.
what I love about it is I'm intrigued instantly because in most situations where people of the woo woo world or nature, and I include myself in there, you hear the term guide, it's about a spirit guide or something other than a human. And so to hear you say that you refer to your work as a life transformation guide, I'm very intrigued. Take us into that one a little, if you could.
Yeah, for sure. So what that means to me is, and it looks different for everyone. Like I have people that come to me and one session have transformations in their life because people tend to come to me when they have like a block. It could be a block in their parenting, it could be a block in their relationship, in their career, and it's just really perplexing them. They can't figure it out in terms of like, bouncing around options in their head. And when they come to me, I can tell they've probably been bouncing around in their head a lot about this situation or circumstance in their life, and they come looking for clarity. They want to find an answer or like the wisdom that feels appropriate for them to make peace with this area of their life or to help them understand how they can move forward. So sometimes it is situational. And what I do, no matter what style I'm working with the person, whether it's the transformational guidance work, which is kind of like coaching or mentoring, and then there's the conscious channeling. It's all about leading people into their deeper clarity that's already within them, because I find that my heart and my soul already knows the answer on any situation that I'm contemplating in my life. And I find
Mhm.
that that exists for other people as well. It's just that we've been conditioned to be so heady in our lives. And
Yeah.
and I find that the head bounces all over the place with different opinions and assumptions, whereas the heart to me, or sometimes the gut, is just very clear, very steadfast. It just knows the answer doesn't waver. And so I specialize in helping people move from like the place of confusion into their clarity and knowing. And when they connect with that, all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, this is my true answer. This is how I really feel.
Yes. And you know what? That is so on point. Got to ring the bell purpose. That is so on point. It really is because I know I didn't, sometimes we do things, we practice things within our work that we didn't, learn in a book or we didn't pick up from a mentor. It's just there because we know it to be the right thing. And what you just mentioned is a thing that's always been a part of when someone is deciding whether they're a good fit for me and I'm a good fit for them for my coaching program.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they're so excited and they'll want to answer right then and there on the spot. I say, no, take it from this sacred space in which we're creating right now and go back into the world at large for a minimum of 24 hours. Let it sit with your soul. Sleep on it. Like they always say, I think you need to sleep on it. Or can I have a day to sleep on it to see how it settles? You know, just like an old house, the truth can settle right in, and you go, yeah, that feels just right. Like if you
Mhm.
drop marble in a bowl and it goes like this, and then it goes down to the middle until it's like it settles right in the middle. Perfect.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I operate too. So let me ask you this though: when it comes to someone knocking on the door of Timothy Waterman, life transformation guy, how do you get to the place of of expectation? So that, because I can imagine, some people would feel like that I would picture you living in the trunk of a big tree with a door in it, and you have a pointy hat on like a wizard that they, wave your magic wand on me.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Hit me, that kind of a thing. And talk about that. I know we're laughing and making light, but how much, I mean, or just how often is a better way to frame it. How often, if ever, have you ever had someone that really came and just thought there was some incantation, or can I just repeat something over and over, some kind of mantra, and it'll get me there?
Yeah, no, for sure. That does happen. And what I do, what happens on my side is that I redirect it back into the person, because the truth is there is no answer outside of anyone. There is no, I mean, the guidance happens in the moment in life. A lot of people think that there's some answer outside themselves, then that will then all of a sudden make it make sense. However, the way that I know life to work is that we're always guided in the moment. So the still small voice, if you will, it's always inside in the moment. It has like the go left or the go right in the moment. It's not ahead of time, it's in the moment.
That's true.
Yeah. And so I guide people back to themselves over. It's all about self-trust, and again, a lot of us have been taught to trust intellect, and intellect is helpful for following a recipe or following steps, or going down a certain path. Like once the direction is clear, the mind is really good about like, okay, if this is a step we're going to take, I know what to do. To me, though, the heart is the compass, is the true compass. And so I guide people over and over back to their, like, what is your compass saying? What feels right for you in the moment?
That's right.
Yeah. What's your truth?
That's right. And you're right. That's the moral compass. And it should always be set due north. Yeah. Always be set due north. And when it gets off, there are things in there. There are things inside of us that are internal. Instinct, insight, intellect, inspiration, which is in spirit. All of them are there. And, yeah, big piece there. I don't want to take over, so I want to shut up there. But I love that whole thing about the IN parts. That's real talk, you guys. That's real talk. So let's go to the next thing. What about this conscious channel? To explain what that is, because some people, still scared about that kind of stuff. They're like, Linda Blair, don't want your head spinning around in front of me, or that's the devil. Do you know that you've heard it all? I'm sure you've heard it all, especially those. We come from those baseline religions, a lot of us. So talk about that. How is that for you as an icebreaker at a dinner party or something when that comes out? What is the response you see fall over the crowd?
I've had a lot of chances to practice to help
how to
people
bring
understand.
it in.
Well, to help people understand. I mean, here's the thing. This is the thing that I find kind of funny from my perspective after, having done this for a while now. And it's that, we all have a soul. Like, this is something that a lot of people recognize. Like, even if you watch a lot of Hollywood movies, like, it's just a given that, like, most people like assume like we have a soul, and
yeah.
And most people know that still small voice knows what's best for them. You'll hear people say things like, yeah, I knew what to do deep down, but I didn't do it. That means they know that there's something guiding them. Like, most people recognize there's something guiding them, even if they don't have a phrase for it or a term for it. To me, intuition is the voice of my soul. And so to me, it's not a surprise that I have a soul. It's not a surprise that the soul has infinite wisdom to help me make the best choices in life.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really connected to that. Like, I went through a healing journey where I released a lot of heavy stuff from my soul, from my human essence, my human experience, my vibration. And once I had lifted a lot of that heavy stuff, all of a sudden I had a very strong connection with my soul and the wisdom that it contains. And it's not just unique to me. Everybody's soul has the same wisdom that wants to come through for them. It's just a lot of us have been taught to deny it, to believe it's too good to be true, to not trust it. And so I just trust it. Like, I trust it, and I can speak from that place very fluidly in a way to where when I'm sharing from that level of vibration and frequency, people go deeper within themselves and they're like,
Yes.
oh, like I feel more what's real because I'm so honed in. It helps them get more honed into what's real within them, their soul wisdom, if you know what
Take
I
our
mean.
picture. I gotta take our picture. I have a wall. I keep these on. There you go. Thank you. Um, Absolutely. And on the screen, I say I love it, and I do. The soul. I'm gonna tell you when when it really hit me about soul. I mean, that's a big piece. It is. It's a big piece because I believe that my soul came to this world thirsty for the experience that I now live and have
Mhm.
always been living since
Yeah.
I got here. It was thirsty for it. But it was the movie Titanic when all those people were floating out there, holding onto those doors and things, floating dead. And the voiceover said how many? I forget the exact number. Souls were lost that night.
Mm.
And it was like when I was actually looking at the bodies. And every time there's a water mishap, they refer to the casualties as souls, and it just brought it home to me, and it's like the thing when people say they have near death experiences, and they were in the corner looking down on the room where everybody was or whatever. I think that's the viewpoint the soul has. That's just me. So let me ask you this about soul work. Soul work. Uh, there's a I'm trying to think of the right way to frame this. Uh, when people have no reference to soul, or it doesn't hold any, it's like it should be. When I talk about soul and soul related anything, it feels like the kind of stuff that should be kept in a vault or a safe deposit box at best. I mean, at least at someplace protected because it's so valuable, so wonderful. But there are some people who don't give their soul a second thought. What do you can you see that? Can you feel that? What do your gifts do that help you maybe take somebody to that place where they start caring about their very soul? I know that's a tough question, but
Yeah. Well, for me, again, it's really coming back to self-trust. People know what their authentic answer is. It's just we've been taught to deny it, to stuff it down. So when people come to me and they're troubled about something, I really help them hear themselves like their true selves. It's like, no, how do you really feel? No, what do you really want? What would you really prefer? Do you like this treatment or do you not? Like, be honest with yourself about it. And when people are honest with themselves about it, all of a sudden they can see that there's something they're not really listening to in their life. Like, they know it's there. They have preferences, they have desires.
yeah.
They're just so used to stuffing them down and making them not important. And so I help people see, no, like you do know. You're just so used to denying it or making up a story how it's not important or it's not
Mm.
possible. And so when I guide people back to their truth over and over and over again, they see it's there. They just see that they haven't really been listening to it. Whatever you call it, they just haven't been listening to their authentic self or truth,
Why
if you
is
will.
that though? Do we not recognize our own inner voice?
Well, we've been taught to be small. We've been taught to be people-pleasing citizens, like we've been taught to give our
Mm.
power away. And we're terrified of disappointing people, upsetting people for being authentic. And so a lot of people are
True.
small because they're afraid of how other people might react. They're like, oh, if I said how I really feel, like, what if they don't agree with me? What if they get upset at me? It's all these things. And so rather than be authentic, it feels safer, kind of like on this inner child level that just wants to protect itself, to be hidden, to be invisible. And that is a strategy for survival, if you will. However, what I see and what I find is that it causes a lot of suffering. People don't, at 40 years old, people don't want to be small anymore. Like, they suffer from being small, but it's just a
Mm.
pattern they're so used to. And so I help them see that there's a pattern they can break out of if they would like to, if they want to be free from that smallness and hiding. And then it's really up to them. Like, do they want to stay with the suffering or do they want to break free and be more authentic?
You know, there's so many shades of trauma, just as there are so many shades of healing. Um, I, for one, that's why I'm so grateful that I don't believe that there are ever any mistakes. I believe that's just the universe and their way of keeping our shit interesting. Seriously, seriously, it's like this too shall pass. You know what I mean? And then even when it's like really like a shitstorm, I'll be like, okay, wait a minute. I see what's going on here. What could be so wonderful right around that next hour, that next day, that next week? What could be so great that you things that don't serve me are trying so hard to keep me from it? What could it possibly be?
Yeah.
And instantly everything starts to sound different within my head, right? So let's talk about gifts, divine gifts. When you first realized you possessed a divine or more than one divine gift, were you still within the organized religion realm, or had you
No.
stepped away from it?
Yeah, no, it had been a long time. I mean, it was when I really stepped into, the gifts that we're talking about, it was when I realized what they were and I realized that I could really use them in a really meaningful and impactful way, I was about 34, 35, which is about 6 to 7 years ago now. I
Mm-hmm.
will say that when I was about 5 or 6, like, I had very strong intuitive, like, abilities. I just knew things about people with, just by them being in the room.
Mm.
However, I was told not to trust that, and so, as we do as children when we
Who
just
told
wanna
you that?
fit in, I just started to, discount that and,
Who told you not to
started to
trust it?
What's that?
Who told you not to trust it?
Oh, just, my elders, so
Wait, why? So, well, let's talk about that because, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a divine gift. You were told not to trust it, but
yeah.
why do you think that was? Was it they weren't ready to hear it? It wasn't in alignment with Christianity. Why would you not trust something that feels so wonderful? How did you reconcile that in your own little mind?
Well, this is what I picked up. There are people that
And I say
are
little because you were young, not
Yeah,
that
yeah,
your mind was small. I heard
yeah,
it the minute I said it. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, I was picking up on, like, in this one instance, like, someone that was incredibly troubled on the inside, like, incredibly troubled to, like, where when I was just in a room with them, I felt uncomfortable, like extremely uncomfortable. And I just said, like, I don't want to be around that person. And it
Mm.
was hard for me to explain because, I'm 6. I don't have a lot of the terminology, but I
Don't
just knew
be
like,
mean. Why would you say that? She's nice or he's nice or right. So you were
yeah,
an
it was,
empath.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And I was just told, like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's all nonsense. And so,
I get it.
yeah.
So push it down.
Mhm,
So today you have the antidote for a lot of those who have been stricken with the poison, bitten by the poison, stung with the poison, sprayed with the poison. However, they've had some contact. Um, what is it for you that is your most, would you say, is the most gratifying piece for you? Because where we're headed right now is the definition of unfulfilled is emptiness,
mhm,
some form of emptiness. And you being fulfilled is a big piece for you. I
mhm,
saw it all over your branding. So
yeah,
you even have things that you offer people that show them about being to get away from being unfulfilled. Take us
mhm.
into that piece. Unfulfilled, what is the definition of it?
Yeah, for me, it was about the age of 28, which again was about 12 to 13 years ago now, and I had a life that was full. It just didn't feel like me at all. In my 20s, I was a people pleaser, and so again, I what was important to me, what I really wanted to go after and pursue and create in life, like, I really just put it last. I made it not important, and so I again took all these voices around me and made their voices more important than my own. And so I ended up with a life that was full with a lot of the things I was told that I should have in my life, like, a job that paid the bills, a marriage, dog, a house, car, all these things. So my life was full, but none of it really felt like me. And it's because I wasn't listening to myself. I always, again, just made what was important to me last. And so, yeah, I felt empty because I had this full life, but none of it felt like me. And I was hiding and I was small and constantly people pleasing. And so I just felt kind of miserable. And so when you have a life that's full, but none of it feels like you, that feels pretty empty and unfulfilling to me. And that's where I realized like, oh, I got to change something because this isn't right.
So you felt like an imposter. Hi, Lucy.
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, I know that's not the
Mm.
literal definition of imposter syndrome, but in a way it is. Or is
Mhm.
it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, where you feel something other than what is. And that can be very, very confusing.
Yeah.
Very confusing. So what kind of people is there a certain type, a certain vibe that's a good fit for the work you do? How would a person know if, how would they know? I think this guy could help me.
Yeah, I mean, people tend to come to me when they're at a roadblock, when they're just like, I just don't know what to do. It can be in one big life situation, it can be in multiple things.
Yeah.
They're just really stuck and they're just like, I don't know the way forward. That's when people tend to find me. And again, it's not that I have the answers, it's just that I am really good at detecting the lies that we tell ourselves, the stories that we've made up
Mm.
to keep ourselves small, to keep ourselves caged in. Because here's the thing, I'll never forget this. It's such a great metaphor. I once saw a Prince EA video on YouTube, and it was this story about how I think it was, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was a really good video. It was a video about, I think, Houdini and how he was locked in this cell, and bars and convinced he couldn't get out. And he tried everything to get out. And then eventually he finds out that like the door to the cell is not even locked. you know?
Oh, that's funny. That's not funny, but it's funny. I love that. Yes, 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 yes. It's
So
like
we
people that
cage ourselves
go,
in,
yeah.
with these stories and these limitations, and I can just pick up the limit. I can see the limitations for what they are, and it's not wrong. It's just that we're so good at creating these stories to convince ourselves that we are stuck, that we have no option. And when I see it, when I see what people have created for themselves that hold themselves back or they feel like hopeless, I just have a way of asking them questions that help them shatter that illusion. So I'm not just, saying like, this is what I see, blah, blah, this is what you need to do. It's not that. I'm able to ask them questions so they can begin to see how actually amazing the invention they've created to keep themselves small and stuck is. And when they can see it, it's like this really amazing process where all of a sudden mentally even they break out of it and they're like, oh, what I've been telling myself isn't actually true. And then they begin to see that they're not as stuck and it's not as hopeless as they believe. So yeah, anyone that is feeling like stuck, perplexed, and they genuinely want a better life.
Well, okay. So what about this one? What about the person who fits the description you just took us down through?
Mhm.
But they're because birds of a feather kind of thing, law of attraction, like attracts like. So this person says, "Oh, okay," but then they wake up a little, start getting the sleep out of their eyes, and they realize that everybody around them is asleep.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What does a person do when that's the situation? Because a lot of us don't want to leave what we perceive as our support system.
Mhm.
Um, our everythings or whatever. That's why the woman who gets or the man who gets physically abused or emotionally, excuse me, or verbally abused, they go back over and over and over, and people don't understand that. So you see what I'm saying? It's like we're gluttons sometimes
Mm.
for the punishment. So what about when a person finds their way to waking up? Now they need some support beams to
Mhm.
maintain because a lot of people get to the intersection, but then they speed through it before they pick up the things they need to take with them for what's ahead after the
Mhm.
intersection, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I have been a guide for people where they are at those crossroads, and they're big crossroads. Like, I've been support system for people that were wanting to leave a job that didn't feel right, wanting to leave relationships that they just know aren't good for them. So yeah, these are
Mhm.
big life situations. And again, I'm not telling them what to do. It's just that I am the support. So when they're asking questions, when they're trying to like process it all, I am that constant guide that's like, what feels right to you, what feels best to you, in your heart of hearts, because again, the intuition is always there. It does have the answer. And I will say that the intuition typically, I mean, a lot of times it will give us the step that requires great courage, great courage.
Amen.
And yeah, and so I am just like, okay, you know what the step is. Like, again, I'm not telling you what the step is. We've tuned in deep into you. Deep into you, you feel the step. Now it's up to you. Like, do you want to take the step? Like, do you want to take the step?
Yeah.
And they'll voice, insecurities, they'll voice fears, and I'll help them process it. And again, it's all though coming back to, even with all the processing of the insecurities and fears, it's still coming back to, and what does the next right step feel like to you? And are you going to take it? Like, I have no investment whether they take it or not. I'm just like, I'm putting it to them. You know the step. Are you going to take it? And that's where it's like hands off, and only that person can ever decide if they're going to follow what feels best within them.
True.
I am that loving, supporting guidance, though, that holds space for what can be a very intense process to break free from some of these situations and really become authentic and listen to your courageous truth. So I'm a loving, guiding support system. I just, again, I don't tell them, I'm like, hey, I'm hands off. Like, whatever you do, I'll support you. But what do you truly want to do from deep down within?
Makes
So I just
sense.
support them through the process.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, one of the things is being of service. Excuse me. Being of service. I've always found that when I find my way, okay, now I'm an infant in something that is new to me, and it's my higher self, and I'm new, you know. And that's a critical point. It's a crucial place, because that's where the people around you are waiting to see, like you remember back in the days of church and whatnot, somebody got saved or whatever. All people did was, wait a minute, I saw her going into the so-and-so club. I thought, didn't she just get baptized? Uh-huh. Well, what happened? I thought you said you wasn't there no more. They just wait. So what I'm getting at is this. I always found, like, when I started thinking I wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't doing well enough, or I'm pretending, or I'm not as good as that person who's is at the same spot as I am, and they seem to, all these things. The way to get out of that stinking thinking for me has always been to do something as quickly as I can that has nothing to do with me. Pay it forward. Do something for someone else. Call and check on someone else. Send a card to someone else, or anything, and it just automatically lightened my load, as far as the way that I was like thrashing myself, So let's talk about this. You also mentioned that I watched a video you have on your website, about 15-minute video. I watched that earlier today, and you talked about being burned out. That is a loosely used term in a lot of arenas today. What is the most detrimental part, in your opinion? The most life-threatening or earth-shattering or earth-shaking piece of burnout? Or what was it for you?
Yeah, what was it for me is that my health really began to deteriorate. I was pushing and pushing again. Like, in that video, the burnout I was speaking to again was when I was in a corporate environment, and I was pushing myself a lot, trying to be the best I could. I was also like working overtime in a life overall that didn't feel happy or satisfying to me. But I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I got to a point where my health really began to deteriorate. I started to have panic attacks, and there is, this head, brain gut connection that we know about. And I was so stressed and, having panic attacks that my physical gut started to feeling it. feel that.
Kind of what it sounded like out there, you know. Okay, but for real, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So the gut, my stomach started to suffer, and I was struggling to keep food and water down. So I was pushing so much in a life that didn't work that my health really began to be like this huge red flag of like, it's not working. What you're doing is not working, and if your health has to deteriorate to get your attention, then that's what it will be. And so burnout to me was being completely exhausted, physically, and mentally burnt out, just like my head literally was getting to places where it was scaring itself and scaring my body, putting my body into a traumatic state. And that affected my ability to hold and digest food and water. So I feel like burnout does tend to have a lot to do with health, and one way or the other, it can look different for each of us.
yeah.
But that's what it meant for me, is that my body was actually starting to crumble, and that was getting my attention for sure.
So, do you assist your clients in how to navigate through or around that thing about burnout? I mean, a lot of people don't know when they're suffering from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, whatever the situation is, I bring people back to their deepest truth, because our soul knows, like everyone's soul comes from the same place. So when you come back to your intuition, your soul, some people may just call it their intuition or their inner compass, whatever they call it.
Sure.
That does know that it's not healthy to push ourselves that way. Our bodies are a form of nature. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen an animal in nature, like pushing itself to the point where it can't even digest food anymore. Like,
Right. That's a good point. No, I have not. They know when to stop.
exactly. They know when to stop. They know when to rest. So our soul, our inner guiding light, or our intuition knows things like, it's not good to push myself this much. It's healthy to rest. It's healthy to slow down, to relax, to connect with things that ignite my spirit. Like, our souls know these things. And so again, it's me, whatever the issue is, it's me bringing back to that knowing, because that knowing, they'll feel it, and it will just tell them, I'll ask them a question like, if we're in your place of knowing right now, pushing yourself this hard, like, is this really necessary? Is this required?
Yeah.
And because the soul is what it is, like, people's soul will say, no, this isn't good for me. This isn't healthy. And it's about them hearing that inside themselves, so they know what their soul or their intuition is trying to tell them.
Take another picture. Well, so let me ask you something. Do you know? I do. Do you know when something satisfies your soul? See, I had to close my eyes when I said it.
Yeah.
When something satisfies my soul, there ain't nothing like it. Like when I stood in front of the Grand Tetons back in July, when I was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I just stood and looked at how marvelous that piece of creation was. It just touched my soul. It really did. So do you think people would do better, Timothy, if they knew when something was satisfying to their soul? And how do we help people understand that connection better?
Absolutely. And again, that's part of the self-honesty, because people know these things. Sometimes they do need to be directed back to them. And sometimes it's things they already know they enjoy. They're just not making time for it. They have stories about why it's not important. Like, I've spoken to high achievers that they know that things are good for them, but they'll have a story how it's not productive, and so it doesn't deserve a place on their plate. That's a story. And so again, it's about investigating, like, okay, so you're pushing out, you're crowding out all these things that would give you joy, would be refreshing to your spirit. So what's the story that's telling you that that's not good for you, or that's not healthy or important for you? Like, what's the story that's telling you that you have to crowd these things out? And so it's helping them again see why they are crafting their stories in a way to keep themselves from things that light their spirit up, because they already know what it is, things that they do tend to enjoy. And then sometimes it's things they want to explore, things that light up the curiosity. Like, that would be exciting for me to explore, but again, They may have a story about why it's not important, or they don't have time. So people tend to know these things. It's about helping them see why they're convinced it's not important. That's what I tend to help people with, so that they can let go of the reason that they're not allowing themselves to do those things.
Woo. It's a lot. I'm just going to be honest. It is a lot, and I can just see that what you do requires well, let's just say you got to keep your eyes on a lot of pots. You got to keep your eyes on a lot of pots, because I as a coach, I get it, that accountability piece, and I know what we all do, and that's part of doing what we were made for, not just those things we get paid for. There's a big difference. That's why people that have that passion, no matter what, to get up, social workers possess it, therapists and healers, and people of the sort, holding anyone who holds a lot of space, who's empathetic, who values serenity. Now, there's a word you don't hear as nearly as much as I believe we should. Serenity. That is the beautiful place. That is a beautiful place. We all need to visit it more often. So let me ask you this. What would you say is like right now, today, for instance? You heard me mention earlier during the monologue about I said I have my little machine for tonight. The entire world will be watching pretty much tonight, all over. A lot of people. It's a big thing for a lot of people. This mudslinging season, known as election season. It's a mudslinging season. There's a lot of mean things and mean-spirited and all kinds of judgment-based everything going around. So let's finish out today's conversation, if we could, Timothy, with some tips on how to stay in alignment, how to stay grounded with things that pour and into and satisfy our souls. Got anything for us? Some tips?
Yeah, I would offer, first and foremost, take the empowered step or action of making space to sit down and really ask yourself that question. If I had all the time in the world to do anything, how would I spend my time? Like, take out all of the things, the schedule, the have tos, the must, the to dos, let all of that go. And just, if you had all the time in the world and you could spend your time any way you wanted to, what are the things that you would do? What are the things you'd be doing? And are there some things that you still haven't explored that you want to explore? So at least you can get your own honest answer on what those things are. You can see it with your own eyes. And once you see it with your own eyes, at least you have that piece of clarity.
Yeah.
Then it's about again, like, how much do you value your own well-being? Because these things, when we do them, we know that we feel better. We have at least a memory that when we do certain things that light us up, we feel better, we feel more alive. Having fun feels really good.
Yes.
So what is your level of commitment to yourself and your self-worth? How much do you value your own well-being?
That's a big one.
Is that important to you?
Yeah. Excuse me. That's a piece. Well, let's just say it feels like a Rubik's Cube. Going to take a lot to get there, but boy, is it satisfying once you do.
Yeah. I
just want to say thanks so much, Timothy Waterman, for coming in today, pouring into us. Timothy Waterman, also known as Bo. Didn't think I knew that, did you? Life transformation guide and a conscious channel, a digital creator, and who you need to talk to if you're feeling unfulfilled and you want to change that, right? It's like mindful, a full mind, meaningful, it's full of meaning. So if you want to be fulfilled and filled up so that you can have some overflow, it's our cup runneth over, y'all, not my cup runneth out. Don't forget that. You want to be fulfilled so that you can overflow. Think about that. Listen, on your screen is the main road to Timothy Waterman. You can get over there and find all kinds of things. If you want to check him out, other than just here on this live stream, you can go over and follow this. We'll drop this also inside your comment section along with the other link. You can catch some of his Timothy's life story right here on this YouTube special featured right here. So I want to thank you again. Keep doing what you're doing. Hang out for a second backstage. I want to say goodbye properly, and let me say goodbye properly to all of you. Listen, you guys. I couldn't do this without you all, and I wouldn't want to anyway. So listen, thank you for coming in today and making it possible for the 2 or more promise to be fulfilled today, where we come with the same mindset, that heart set, that spirit of easing suffering somehow, some way, somewhere in this world. I just love you for it. And I tell you, I love you every day, you guys. And guess what? There ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Get out of here. Don't let my screen door slam on the way. And remember, Dr. Loren will meet you, God willing, over on the front porch tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central again, so we can have yet another illuminated conversation. And get out of here. Find a little piece of your highest self. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Timothy. Awesome job. See you backstage. Bye, everybody. Have a great, 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 great day.
Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time.